Coming to you live from our studios in Belize City, this is the evening news on Love Television for Friday, September 23rd. We'll get you started with a look at the stories that are making the headlines for today. The Belize National Teachers Union to continue meetings with membership to look at way forward. Work being done to improve Belize's poultry industry. The United Nations Population Fund makes donation for hurricane victims. And work on Hawksworth Bridge disrupts flow of traffic. Second phase of solid waste project to get underway shortly. Any industrial action by the teachers has been placed on pause. That is the report we're getting from sources within the Belize National Teachers Union. We understand that several branches of the BNTU will meet next week, while the remaining few will do so in October. During this time, there will be no strike action. This comes after the Council of Management of the Belize National Teachers Union, BNTU, met with the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dean Barrow, yesterday. What were discussed were BNTU's 8 demands. These demands, according to BNTU representatives, are in the interest of national development and good governance. Just recently, Prime Minister Dean Barrow had asked the BNTU, the Public Service Union, and the Association of Public Service Senior Managers to consider the deferment of the 3% salary adjustment until next year, April. While the PSU and the APSSM agreed, the BNTU was not having it. On Monday, the union showed its strength as teachers traveled to Belmopan to demonstrate. But the BNTU says it's more than the 3. It's for country. The meeting yesterday lasted for more than 4 hours, and as the members of the Council of Management exited the meetings singing the union's anthem, we got a quick word from BNTU National President Luke Palacio.
Remember, we had 8 points that we needed to be discussing with the Prime Minister, and so it took all this time. We've discussed. We have a number of issues that we've raised. We attempted to. In fact, we addressed all the 8 points we had in the letter we sent to the Prime Minister, and we are now prepared to go back and discuss those responses and then determine what happens next. So we cannot tell you that we are satisfied, and neither are we saying that we are not satisfied, but we have a process, and we keep on saying to the media, the BNTU has a process that it follows, and you will have to allow us to make that process work.
How was the atmosphere of the meeting?
Cordial. We were not here to fight. There were no contentious points. The discussions were just long. We had to ventilate all that we want ventilated, and we've done so.
Has the union abandoned its demand for the removal of Godwin House as police minister?
We have not abandoned any position. I'm saying to you, we are going back now to discuss what has been presented to us, and we will inform you accordingly.
As he exited the meeting, Prime Minister Dean Barrow shared a few comments to the meeting in regards to that meeting.
The agenda was pretty long, and the issues raised by the teachers needed to be exhaustively discussed, and so that's what happened. Well, nobody could ever have doubted that the teachers were serious. These are serious people. And so that is why the minute examination of each concern was absolutely necessary. That was done, and I believe that it was a useful process, and now we shall see what we shall see.
Are you bracing for more demonstrations after this meeting?
I wouldn't say that we are bracing for more demonstrations. It is that the members of the Council of Management will go back to their respective branches and will inform as to what took place. And so any position arrived at can only come once that process is concluded. I would not presume to anticipate the outcome of that process.
Also part of the meeting were Ambassador Mark Espat and Financial Secretary Joseph Wade. On Tuesday, the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, heard submissions from attorneys representing the government of Belize and Dunkeld International Investments. This was in regards to the BTL arbitration award. Several matters were ventilated, including in what currency the payment should be made and what percentage of the payments should go to public funds. Yesterday, after the meeting with the Belize National Teachers Union, we got a short comment from Prime Minister Dean Barrow on the issue.
We clearly take the position that there is no doubt at all about the agreement making clear that the accommodation agreement portion of the award is to come back to Belize for the benefit of the Belizean people.
The Caribbean Court of Justice suggested to both parties to settle the matter outside of the courts. There is still the second and final payment to be made, and to do so, Financial Secretary Joseph Wade had stated that Belize will have to make a $150 million loan. PM Barrow explained that this was considered just not that amount.
We didn't know what the arbitration award would be, but from the time the award came down, we knew that we would be paying in two tranches, the first tranche in year one and the second tranche in year two. So we borrowed enough to meet the first payment, and it is clear that we'll have to borrow to meet the second payment. This is all domestic borrowing by way of the Treasury bills and notes, so we are perfectly prepared to do that next year when we need to make that second and final payment.
As you heard, the government is planning to pay the final payment by making a domestic loan. Barrow explained that this is the best option.
This is domestic paper that government is well able to service. It serves the purpose as well of trying to mop up some of the excess liquidity in the system, and it gives the banks and financial institutions another vehicle for investing in the sorts of complying with their requirements in terms of the holdings of assets that they must have in their portfolio. So bottom line, we are now free and clear in terms of our ownership of BTL. I repeat that that is a company that will more than be able to pay this bill, this debt that we have to incur for its ownership. And over the long haul, we are going to come out ahead. Generations to come, the ownership of BTL is forever. We showed you, or maybe not you, we made the point that in terms of the profits, the future profits that are expected, certified by the accountants on both sides, BTL is looking for the rest of the period that was constituted by the accommodation agreement at making, I can't remember the number, but it was around $1 billion in profits. That's going through to 2033 or whatever it is. So over the long haul, we will not just the earnings from BTL will not just pay for what we have to borrow now, but will see us coming out indubitably and resoundingly on top. This is a good deal. This is not like the super bond, where you owe $1.1 billion and you get nothing for it and you have nothing to show for it. This is an asset that even now, is worth well over $500 million. And as I said, in terms of the prospects for the profits that the company will make, we are well ahead of the game. We are well clear in terms of coming out resoundingly, overwhelmingly on the plus side of the equation.
Both parties are expected to come to a compromise as soon as possible. If they cannot, then the CCJ will accommodate a second hearing as early as next week. At the 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly in Washington, D.C., President for the Republic of Guatemala, Jimmy Morales, spoke on regional peace and cooperation, citing that Belize has been uncooperative in those efforts. Here is a translated clip of his 10-minute address delivered yesterday.
Guatemala contends that multilateralism and the promotion of international law are indispensable to solve the problems facing the community of nations, and we hope that peaceful solutions can be found to overcome differences between states. Guatemala undertakes actions of cooperation and good neighborliness in our geographical surroundings, and I want to express the deep commitment of my country to resolve permanently and definitively in the International Court of Justice the territorial, insular, and maritime dispute with Belize, a country with which we aspire to have a privileged relationship and a permanent dialogue for the solution of common problems. However, in recent months, we no longer encounter such a reciprocal attitude on the part of the Belizean authorities. Since 1999, the situation has claimed 10 Guatemalan civilian victims in the adjacency zone administered by Belize. On the 20th of April this year, a 14-year-old boy was a fatal victim of an attack by armed groups under the command of an army patrol from that country. According to the forensic report by Belize, the child died from multiple gun wounds from a high-powered rifle. The Guatemala Forensic Service confirmed that there were 9 bullet wounds, 6 of which were in his back, 2 in the back of the neck, and 1 in the front. These grave acts directly harm the bilateral relationship and hinder progress towards building trust. I wish to reaffirm the will of the state of Guatemala is to find, within the framework of international law, a definitive solution to the dispute with Belize.
The theme of the general debate of the 71st session of the UN's General Assembly is the Sustainable Development Goals, a universal push to transform our world. The session ends on Monday, September 26th. This morning, the United Nations Population Fund donated more than 100 dignity kits to the Ministry of Human Development, Social Transformation, and Poverty Alleviation. The kits will now be distributed to victims who were affected by Hurricane Earl, a Category 1 hurricane which made landfall on August 3rd. It is called Dignity Kits because they include hygienic and sanitary items. These kits will be distributed by the ministry with the support of the Relief and Supplies Committee of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. More than a month ago, Category 1 Hurricane Earl made landfall in Belize. Some parts of the country were badly affected, including Keycocker. The government reports millions of dollars in losses in the agriculture sector. Losses were also felt in the fisheries industry, and fishermen of Keycocker are complaining that they are in dire need of assistance because their livelihoods have now been threatened. Fishermen Porfirio Guzman, Emilio Novello, Ian Fort, Charles Rubio Jr. explained how they have been affected and what the government can do to assist them.
The damage is that we, the fishermen, I'm not talking individual for myself, talking for everybody, all the fishermen, countrywide. We know that we get really damaged big time. Especially the fishermen them who has lobster traps and the fishermen who have what you call shades where people put in the water for the lobster go for shelter and the fishermen they go and take out the lobster when they don't need in there. And a lot of us has lose almost 90% of all our equipments.
Any help is okay, you know. If we could get a little material, that would be okay too, you know. It doesn't have to be money, you know, just a help from the government or anybody. That's all we're asking for. Yeah, we use for the lobster shade, we use the zinc from the roof from the house, along with the palmitos and the lobster traps that use the palmito too, you know, nails, you know.
I have 3 kids, you know. I have 2 girls and 1 boy. My oldest girl, she's going to St. Catherine's in the city, you know. My fishing, you know, I'm a tour guide as well, and I do fishing as well. During the slow time, this is when I depend a lot on fishing, which is around this time here. And, you know, it helps pays the bill, you know. It pays for my daughter to, you know, the passage of food she needs, you know, even for my kids here, you know. So it is a big strain, you know, that I find it even harder to provide to them, you know, for the loss that I've had, you know.
Due the hurricane pass went by, the island had a really bad effect, coming especially to the fishermen. They lost all their shades, most of their traps. Because what happened, the restaurants, the fishermen supplies the restaurants with lobster so that when the tourist comes in, the restaurants can provide lobster on the table. But right now it's not like that because due to the hurricane, a lot of these fishermen get so pretty hurt, you know. Imagine someone have 600 lobster traps and you only end up with 100 left. So it's really hurt, you know. But what we're asking now is to see that, you know, it's getting back slowly. But you know, we're working on it pretty slowly. It's just that, you know, the fishermen, I believe that they need more help.
According to the fishermen, more than 100 of them were affected. More than 50% of their shades and traps were damaged during Hurricane Earl. A project is being implemented to increase poultry production and assist participating farmers in the Toledo district. Correspondent Paul Mahang reports.
With the implementation of the project in this district, work has begun on the construction of hatchery facility at the Ministry of Agriculture compound in Elridgeville, Toledo, as explained by District Agricultural Coordinator Hustaka Tush.
The project is free-range poultry production that has a duration of 2 years. The project has a main goal to increase family income and improve on the protein diet for these families from the production of local eggs and protein, meat, chicken protein. The project objective mainly is to increase poultry production, the population of free-range poultry by 12,000 birds and eggs during the 120 production of eggs per month under a biosecurity system, hopefully by the end of 2017. With the project, it has already started here in the compound through the construction of the hatchery, where the incubator will be based for hatchery of the eggs. And furthermore, the project will be working with farmers throughout the district, whereby mobile chicken coops will be constructed where farmers can raise chicken on a more controlled methods. Also, the project will work with a lot of the extension program in training farmers to improve their local backyard chicken in terms of health, diseases, nutrition, because we noticed that local chicken is a very good outcome for small farmers throughout the district and throughout the country. Also, the project is not only working here in Toledo, but it will be as well in the Orange Walk district.
Hustaka Tush of the Ministry of Agriculture commented that Toledo poultry farmers are very positive and welcome the needed poultry project implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture in collaboration with funding agent Food and Agriculture Organization FAO. This report is sponsored by Tides Fish Festival 2016 with October 7th, Friday night opening cocktail and dance with Lascelles Martinez at Walucos in Punta Gorda. Saturday afternoon, October 8th, weekend Warriors cycle race on PG San Antonio Road. and Saturday night youth conservation competition at Father Ring Parish Hall, and on Sunday, October 9th, Tide Fish Festival Grand Finale with fishing tournament, food, business and educational booths, refreshments, music and fun-filled activities all day long at Tide Compound. For additional information, contact phone numbers 722-2231 or 621-0175. Reporting for Love News, Paul Mahone, Punta Gorda.
Yesterday, the Caribbean Poultry Association held its third annual symposium. One of the purposes of the forum was to discourage the use of antibiotics in the industry. We spoke with the experts about the widespread notions of growth hormones used in the local poultry industry. President of the Poultry Association of Belize, David Reimer, commented on this issue.
Here in Belize, we have always monitored the situation with what the chicks feed. There's absolutely no hormones, as there is it's been known for or talked about all the time, but there's absolutely hormone free. Absolutely no hormones are being used in our products. And it's also very much regulated by BAHA and by the industry itself, because we know the better the product, the better it is for the consumer. So we are really, really concerned and have always been, but we're just trying to improve little by little every day. They are always hormone free, and some people ask, okay, so why can a chicken now grow in 6 weeks instead of 2 months, to get the size? And there is a very easy explanation. It's the genetics. For the last 100 years, all the countries and experts have been trying to always find the best breeders and the best roosters, so to say, to get a bigger chick for faster. But it has nothing to do with hormones or anything like that, so it's only a genetic, which is 100% natural.
Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, Jose Alpuche, stated that the ministry regulates the industry to ensure there is no use of unnecessary chemicals in animals.
This is something that's been occupying our time for quite some time, not only within Belize, but quite frankly globally. And as they said, the UN passed that resolution yesterday, giving countries a 24-month deadline to come up with plans. We do have basic operational regulations here in Belize as it relates to registering of use of some of those antibiotics and other antimicrobial inputs into agriculture, but there's certainly need to tighten more and to put in place regulations for their use. Indeed, we have not seen the use of growth hormones in poultry. They do use antibiotics, as they must, but most of those inputs into production are not widespread use in Belize because it's an extra cost. Unlike other countries, more developed economies where these sorts of inputs are actually subsidized, we don't subsidize it. So it's a direct economic cost to the producers. So it's not used as widespread as some people would want to think.
Alpuche also commented on the investments the ministry has made into the poultry industry to help fight diseases.
Because of some of the problems we had last year with the avian influenza, for example, the industry has stepped up its monitoring, its biosecurity considerably. And I can tell you, having visited facilities in other countries, we are up there in terms of the quality of what we have in place in terms of the infrastructure for production. Last year, for example, with the outbreak of disease, we spent well over $2 million from government trying to combat that. And thank goodness we successfully eliminated the avian influenza. So there's a lot of investment that happens in the background, but government's investment to a large extent has to do through BAHA in terms of the monitoring.
As was mentioned earlier, work is being done to set up the poultry industry to begin exporting to the Caribbean by early next year. Last week, Prime Minister Dean Barrow and the General Manager for the Inter-American Development Bank IDB for Central America, Gina Montiel, signed a loan agreement to finance a project to improve the transport, recovery and final disposal of solid waste in towns and villages in Belize's northern and southern corridors, as well as in Belmopan. The loan is for $10 million. Senior solid waste technician Lumen Cayetano told us more about this project.
On the solid waste management project 2, we will continue to improve on the network of transfer stations that we have in the country by building transfer stations in the southern corridor and in the northern corridor. In the southern corridor, we will be constructing transfer stations for Placencia, for Dangriga, and also for Punta Gorda, and in the northern corridor we will be constructing transfer stations in Orange Walk and in Corozal. We'll also be constructing a transfer station in Belmopan on the solid waste management project 2.
What is the result that you guys are expecting in completing this project?
Well, the result that we're expecting is, first of all, that we would have had the nation equipped with the hardware for proper waste management in the form of transfer stations and the regional sanitary landfill. And also, progressively, we will also be embarking on the social communication aspect of what we do in waste management, and thereby appealing to the senses of Belizeans to collaborate with the systems and to foster that behavior change that would eventually get us to the point where we have a cleaner community and overall a cleaner country.
The project is expected to be completed in 5 years. The Hawksworth Bridge is currently the primary entrance and exit for San Ignacio Town, Cayo District. Rumors of its integrity being compromised began surfacing earlier today, and in an effort to get an update on what is happening, we spoke with the chief engineer at the Ministry of Works, Lennox Bradley, who told Love News that there is no truth to that rumor.
In terms of the Hawksworth Bridge, we conducted an inspection this morning. The Corps of Engineers from Ministry of Works conducted an inspection, and we found that on the Santa Elena side, we had one of the cords, the bearing for one of the cords then, that had a big plane. It appears that the pin within the bearing itself had worn out slightly, and we need to build up back that bearing. Because it had worn out, it had a bigger plate than what is we normally allow for. But the bridge is a suspension bridge, which allows for a lot of movements. So that wearing out of the bearing was nothing that serious, although we don't want to leave it like that for too long. And so we scheduled maintenance this evening to build back the bearing to try to reduce that movement. But it was nothing that should cause any alarm to the motoring public. We have maintenance scheduled from between 3:30 to about 7 o'clock tonight, and that will restore the bridge back to full use. The public should not have any sort of concern on the integrity of that bridge.
The low-lying bridge was the entrance up to early August before Hurricane Earl's winds and rains destroyed it. Its absence does pose potential problems since it has forced the traffic to be rerouted to the Hawksworth entrance. Chief Engineer Bradley says it's only for a few more months.
The wooden bridge had about around 10 of its 14 spans damaged, washed away during Hurricane Earl. And we have about 4 spans remaining to be reconstructed. I think within the next week and a half, 2 weeks maximum, those four spans are supposed to be completed, and the bridge will be open for full use by the public again.
It is to be noted that the Hawksworth Bridge is undergoing some welding works, and with that, there are some restrictions of its use as explained by Bradley.
No, we have put in place a sort of restriction on the movement of vehicles on the Hawksworth Bridge. We are doing some welding works, and we don't want much movement on the bridge with those heavy vehicles. So what we have done is ask some of the operators of heavy vehicles to use the Poultry bypass road to reduce the amount of heavy vehicles passing on that bridge, at least to allow the contractor, who is already working there, to complete the works by 7 o'clock this evening. So we ask the public to try to cooperate with us. We might even close the bridge at 10 minutes intervals between this time period to allow the contractor to be able to complete the works within that time frame that we have notified the public. But I just want to reassure the public that that bridge is safe. What we are doing right now is just trying to ensure that the bridge has its full integrity. The bridge is not compromised. It's safe for use by the motoring public.
The Hawksworth Bridge is a one-lane suspension bridge that was built in 1949 and imported from Middlesbrough, England. It was named after a former governor of British Honduras. A man from Roaring Creek Village is missing and his family fears the worst. We hear more in this report from correspondent Fem Cruz.
The family of 33-year-old Rudolph Selgado is appealing to the public for their assistance in locating their loved one who went missing on Independence Night sometime around 11 o'clock. Love News spoke to the common law wife of the missing person, Keila Spencer.
My boyfriend Rudolph Selgado left out for the 21st September celebration in night, like 8 o'clock. He told me that he was going out with his friends to socialize a bit. And I told him, okay, I'm tired. I can't go out with you because I have been working from the morning. 11 o'clock was the last time he called and said, babe, I'm coming home. Further from that, I haven't heard it.
Tell us what the family are doing right now.
We are having a search out for him from Belmopan to Roaring Creek. We live. And I'm asking anyone if they have seen my boyfriend or know anything about him, if they can give us a call. You can contact me at 631-0988. He's a father of 3 kids.
This is Brother Fem Cruz reporting from the nation's capital city, Belmopan, for Love FM.
Police in Belize City have detained 2 men after the son of a government minister was robbed at gunpoint last night just before midnight. The incident occurred on Marine Parade in Belize City, where 24-year-old Kristen Hulse was parked with his girlfriend in a red 4Runner SUV. The couple was then approached by 3 males of dark complexion. One of the robbers, who was armed, held the couple up, forcing Hulse to surrender the keys to the SUV. Hulse and his girlfriend remained on the Marine Parade as 2 of the robbers drove off in the SUV, and the third culprit followed in a white Mazda sedan, heading in the direction of the Ramada Hotel. It is expected that charges will be laid shortly. Kristen Hulse is the son of the Minister of Home Affairs, Senator Godwin Hulse. The gang suppression unit led by intelligence gathered was successful at ridding the street of yet another unlicensed firearm. In a search conducted yesterday at around 5 o'clock on City Street in Belize City, as a result of that search, 24-year-old Stephen Bradley and 21-year-old Kadeem Bradley were both arrested when an illegal firearm with ammunition were found concealed in a shoebox in one of the rooms of the house where the men were. The men appeared in court today before Magistrate Carlon Mendoza, where Stephen Bradley pleaded guilty to the firearm and ammunition after telling the magistrate that he was holding the weapon for someone. Subsequent to Stephen Bradley's plea, charges were withdrawn from Kadeem Bradley. Stephen Bradley was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment with eligibility for parole in March of 2019. And speaking with Love News, GSU Commander Glenn Calais says they are improving the way they carry out their operations, with one of their main focuses being on intelligence gathering, followed by execution of duties. After facing arraignment on August 19, 2013, the case of 39-year-old Carolee Jean Rayburn concluded today in the Belize City Magistrates Court. Rayburn was approached and searched by members of the Gang Suppression Unit on Friday, August 16, 2013, on George Street in Belize City. Rayburn was reportedly carrying a purse in which officers found 72 grams of marijuana and a shoebox where a .38 revolver was found, along with 3 live rounds of ammunition. Rayburn was initially remanded but had received bail and was released. Today, she was fined $2,500 for keeping a firearm without a gun license, as well as an additional $2,500 for kept ammunition. For the marijuana found in her purse, Rayburn was fined $10,000, and the fines are to be paid by October 30th, 2017. Belize has been making its mark on the international scene, especially when it comes to the tourism aspect. Destinations in Belize have been awarded by several entities, including TripAdvisor, World Travel Awards, Eco Excellence Awards, among others. While tourism in its low season right now, Belize is already preparing for the opening of the high season in November. And if the international reports and recommendations are any indication of the arrivals we can anticipate, then Belize may very well continue on its upward trend in tourism data. Stride Travel has compiled its list of 7 top destinations for people to travel to in 2017. Belize is listed at the number 3 spot with a brief description reading, quote, Belize has been a go-to destination for years among American retirees looking to settle down in a friendly and warm country close to home. But you don't need to wait for retirement to take advantage of Belize's world-class snorkeling and scuba diving. A guided tour will ensure you gain access to the top snorkeling and diving spots like the Lighthouse Reef Atoll, home to the famous Blue Hole. A tour guide will also provide local insights and historical context when visiting places like the Maya ruins at Shunantinich and Caracol. End of quote. Stride Travel is an online platform backed by big investors in both the tech and travel industries. Other destinations making it on the list are Greece, Romania, Iceland, Thailand, Machu Picchu, Peru, with Cuba topping the list of destinations for 2017. This weekend, the Belize Scouts Association and Oceana Belize are partnering once more to conduct a countrywide cleanup campaign. It will be a part of the Ocean Conservancy's International Coastal Cleanup. This year marks the 25th year that the event is being held worldwide and the 7th year that Belize is participating. But it's not just about picking up garbage, but also about collecting data to deal with the prevention of pollution. The National Coordinator Ricardo Alcocer told us more.
Only about collecting, but it's about recording the information on special designated data cards. We partner a lot with Oceana Belize, who also, through their key stakeholders, the wave makers are able to mobilize more people in coastal areas now, since they already reach out to them.
Have you seen the numbers of volunteers increase during the years it has been done here in Belize?
Okay, the number of participants varies year from year. I can say the least participants that we've ever had in a year was 492, and the most participants in one year was 2,200. Collectively, for these past 24 years, of which we have records for, over 22,000 participants have come out in Belize to cover over 530 miles of coast and riverways, collectively picking up over 184,000 pounds of this debris. And it's not only inland in Belize or the coast, but also in the Keys, Kikacar, San Pedro, and the marine reserve at Lighthouse Reef, where Belize Audubon Society is in charge of. So we are able to cover the entire country in this one day of event that we do.
The Scouts Association has been partnering with Oceana Belize for the past 7 years, and Communications Officer Amelita Knowles told us why.
Oceana's concern is protecting the world's ocean, and I'm there with Oceana 2 years, going on 3 years, and the progress, the only thing we have is volunteers coming out. That is, and so we want to encourage Belizeans. We're saying taking back Belize. This is also another important issue that we need to address in our country. Making it cleaner, making it healthier, especially our ocean, the seas actually that we depend on for jobs, for food, for protection, for recreation, and our beaches, which is very important because Belizeans, we go to the Keys on a weekly, long weekends, Easter, we flock to these beaches, and so we don't want to see a polluted environment.
The cleanup is this Saturday, and if you would like to volunteer, you can call Knowles at cell phone number 610-4874. That number is 610-4874. This morning, the lucky winner of a promotion by Courts and Copa Airlines received 2 round-trip tickets to Panama and $1,000 cash. Annie Kwan from Corazon Town was the lucky winner. Larissa Madril, Ready Cash Supervisor at Courts, spoke about the promotional event, stating that it was very successful.
We started the promotion on July 8th, where you can have booked any cash loan from $100 up to $4,000, and that gave you a chance to enter into a raffle. And that was countrywide for all of our branches for courts. So what we did is at the end of August 26, we selected a winner from each district. We brought it up to the city and we chose that lucky winner who was from Corozal. We have Miss Anna. She's the lucky winner from Corozal who has won the Panama trip for two and $1,000 in cash. We have a very good partnership with Copa Airlines. We recently joined up with them for them to promote back and forth to Belizeans, to Panama, for Belizeans to enjoy and what's Panama all about. So we had a very good relationship with them. We decided to join with them for us lucky Belizean to actually have a chance to go across to Panama. We were very, very successful and we had a lot of promotions going on with this. We had flyers, we had promotions on the radios, we had callings, and it was very successful for us.
Executive Sales Coordinator for Copa Airlines, William Smith, spoke about partnering with courts. Smith said Copa Airlines is happy to help Belizeans get to know other Central American countries, such as Panama.
When they came up and asked us about another promotion, we happily jumped on board for the opportunity because we are a new company in Belize. We started in December of last year. We have 2 flights weekly on Tuesdays and Fridays from our hub of the Americas in Panama into Belize. And so it is a great opportunity to promote our airline at the same time, and also by giving to the Belizean populace so that they can know more about Panama and come to Panama, because we have in Panama it's very famous for shopping. That's what Belizeans love. They love to shop. So we're the conduit to get them there from Belize to Panama.
Are there any plans in the pipeline for Copa Airlines?
At this time, we're looking at the market. Once we're looking over the numbers, the marketing and our sales are looking over the numbers to eventually maybe offer more flight dates, because right now it's Tuesdays and Fridays in and out of Belize, and so we're looking at the numbers. Once it's very good, we'll open up the market and probably add more flights for the convenience of the traveling public.
Lucky winner Annie Kwan told us what her reaction was when she heard the news.
I believe it was on Tuesday that I was called. I was informed that I won something here at courts, and I was told that it was a round trip for 2 at Panama and $1,000 cash prize.
What went through your mind at that moment?
It was a joke, that it wasn't real. I never am that lucky to win something like that before. So I had no idea. I didn't even remember filling in tickets or participating in any raffle, so I had no idea what it was until I was told. It's really awesome. It's exciting. When I was informed what it was, I recall it was in the month of August that I made a cash loan at courts, and I was given some tickets to be filled out, and that was it. I believe it was like 2 or 3 tickets that I filled out, and I won.
Kwan said she doesn't have a date yet for her trip to Panama. Our thought conditioner for today is from Anthony Liconi. It reads, quote, "There will always be haters, and the more you grow, the more they hate. The more they hate, the more you will grow." End of quote. This has been the Evening News on Love Television. We invite you to log on to our website at www.lovefm.com for transcripts of our news stories. We thank you for joining us. Have a safe and enjoyable evening and weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. I am Taryn Butcher.